Welcome. I'm Chris McKean.
Hey, and I'm Andy Kiner. And this is...
I'm Tracy for a little bit, then I'm leaving.
We're all about cross-country racing, and typically it starts with 10 seconds.
But not in Iowa. In Iowa, it starts with hands-on helmets.
Yeah. Welcome. I feel like we're on Kiner time tonight.
I would accept that tonight.
Thanks for some technical issues on your side, so got those worked out.
Still having them. Hence why Trace is here.
She needs to scoot over a little bit. We got half a Trace. There we go.
So
I don't know. As short as you are, you shouldn't have to take up the whole screen.
Man, I look pretty tall here, don't I?
Got your camera on your laptop zoomed in.
You see her rolling her eyes at me, don't you?
Yeah, made me scoot over.
I think we got everything going now. Everything looks like it's coming together. Not bad for our first time.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. How's it going with you?
1, 2.
Hey, I'm just deleting your comments that you randomly put out there for everybody to see.
I did?
Yeah.
That's where you told me to type it.
I told you to type it up there.
Oh.
She's not listening once again.
Oh, I saw it. Got him taken care of.
Thank you.
So, yeah. How's your week been? Or actually, 2 weeks, because you took last week off.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Been a little slow at work, so been getting a lot of stuff done and getting ready for this race. Leave tomorrow morning. Excited about it. So
you're gonna leave tomorrow morning versus tomorrow night?
Yeah. Gonna get up there and try to get caught up on some stuff and get some stuff done. So got a meeting tomorrow night with AMA. So get there, get stuff done, and be able to make that on time, so yeah. Good. How's the flooding in your side?
Oh, we're good. I mean, we got pretty close. Like Brock and I talked last week, but I mean, we were probably within 2 feet of taking on some water. So, and when it floods here, it floods pretty quick. So, yeah.
Man, gotta give our heartfelt sympathies and just prayers going out to everybody in Texas. That is, man, that's so sad.
Yeah, okay. I've been trying to keep up on that. Unfortunately, with Camp Majestic, unfortunate.
I just talked to Terry, reached out to him down at TX4 and in Texas, checking on them and seeing. Fortunately, none of the, he wasn't involved. He did say some of his racers was affected by it, but doesn't sound like any of them was part of, what we're seeing on TV. So that's good. Yeah. But just a horrible situation, that's for sure. But
yeah, so we have quite a few guests. I see they've already gathered in the green room, so to speak. We have Dave Barrette, if I say that right, from Bold Off-Road joining us, as well as Kade joining us for your Jason Mickelson Century 21 Racer highlight tonight. And we also have an interview. Coulter Smalley at Mount Pleasant interviewed Kendall Mohler, so we'll air that as well tonight. And we'll just go into a little bit of what's coming up, right? What to expect at Kahoka.
Exactly. Who knows? I just got off the phone with Trump though, and sounds like everything's going pretty good down there. Not going to be dusty, but it's not going to be. We're supposed to get just about enough amount of rain to keep the dust down. So ain't nothing, extensive by no means forecast. And then I did just notice Saturday, this will be the coolest day all week, 83 degrees. So that should be a nice.
Yeah.
So
nice break.
Yeah.
So did you guys have a good fourth?
Yeah, I think it was. We got to see some family I haven't seen for a while, and from Alabama, and just do a little bit of relaxing and sit out on the deck and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
Didn't do a lot of traveling or anything, so.
I worked on our new house a little bit Thursday. Went to a parade. Worked some more, and then we went to fireworks Thursday night. But yeah, otherwise, keeping busy on the new place.
Got a lot going on there.
I got a quick deadline approaching.
So, well, let me know if you need me to come help you with like electrical or plumbing or anything.
Oh, really? I got some ceiling to hang. I don't know if you could, might get you a ladder or something.
See, here goes the short jokes again. You know, I've been so nice to him. Everybody keeps telling Trace I'm nice to you, and you're always giving me crap. So
I think it's a two-way street.
So
yeah.
No, tell you what, I'm looking forward to this weekend. 2 years ago we started kind of getting in contact. Devin Bowling had told us man, you got to talk to Dave at Bold Off Road, and finally we got together, and then we lost the race that they were supposed to have been a part of, and they've been with us ever since. But it's the first time we get to highlight them, on a T-shirt and everything with Bold Off Road. So looking forward to talking to Dave tonight.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and bring him on.
Is he ready?
He's ready or not, Dave. Here we come.
Drum roll.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How we doing?
Good. Dave, just so you know, I was trying to give you a drum roll entrance, but no. Chris was behind the ball here again. So
I only have so many hands.
There you go. Perfect.
So Dave, welcome.
Thank you.
So we've got to talk about you quite a bit. We've talked about Bold Off Road, but now to see the man, the myth, the legend behind it, we hear about all these custom products and everything that you're putting out, and
absolutely
couldn't wait to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So we got about, what was it, Chris? The last race, we've grown a little bit. We're up to about 256, wasn't it, families?
Yeah.
256 families that's waiting to hear about Bold Off Road. So start off, and you've got at least one guy out there that talks about Bold all the time. We got to give him credit.
Devin Bowling.
Yeah, and I think you picked the right guy because, with him bringing ice cream, he's not now, but
right.
he used to be the most popular rider in the pits,
I'm sure.
giving ice cream out. So
I'm sure.
So, Dave, tell us a little bit. Give us a little history on Bold Off Road.
Well, I started it in May of 2021 out of my garage, actually. And within 6 months, I had to decide whether or not I was semi-retired. And I had to decide 6 months after I started it, do I keep going or am I just going to stop? Because it got to the point working out of my garage that it was just too much. And I had somebody that was coming in and helping me and nights and weekends, and he was ready to jump on board if I opened up the shop at a different location. So that's what we did. And our main focus was going to try to be your high horsepower quads and UTVs. We didn't even do much with dirt bikes at the time. But that market just didn't, around here, it just wasn't, the sport models just wasn't a real heavy thing. It just was unheard of, really. I mean, we're in the middle of farm country. So then it kind of took a turn at first, because we didn't have that clientele set up yet. And probably until March or May of 24, we just did a lot of farm stuff and just your typical everyday UTV, ATV, power sports stuff. And now we're doing quite a bit of high horsepower builds, and we got people that come from Alabama, Missouri, all over the place, Michigan, that bring us their UTVs and ATVs to have us build them.
So what's your biggest clientele? I mean, what are they using them for? Just kind of a
As far as the high horsepower stuff, or just the everyday? It's more dirt drags.
Okay.
Just as I started to want to get into the road or the dirt course stuff, it sounded like it got pulled away from you guys, and Devin had mentioned he's been bugging me about building one, and he knows how I am with my stuff. It would have to be pretty beat up, because if I scratch something, I'm replacing the plastic. That's just how I am. So it took me forever to decide to actually want to build one, just because I knew how I would be. And right about the time I decided, okay, I think I'm going to give it a shot. Well, I think it was your insurance or something got pulled or something.
Yeah, insurance is basically they're telling us we can't have it without telling us we can't have it, if that makes a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're going around different routes to make sure you're not doing it, put it that way. So we're still hoping that, I mean, it's not a done deal. Here's the thing too, Dave, I'll tell you this, it's the cross country part of it that is really hurting. You know what I mean? As far as being exposed to the crowds and the way you come through the pits and everything. I still hope that if we can't cross that hurdle, we can still at least get them back for like our short course stuff.
Right.
But that has to do with, gotta make sure everything's kosher with AMA and the insurances, to be able to do it the same day and have spectators. But we should, I don't know why we couldn't, because we have a barrier between, the pits and the spectators. And so there's different angles that we're going to try. Obviously our best thing is to still get cross country and everything. But if not, door number 2 would be a short course stuff,
Sure.
So we're sure hoping we can get something. We haven't gave up on it, but this year we could tell that it was going to be a situation. We might as well let the guys find a place to call home for a year, or, if we're not going to be able to. So
right.
It stinks. They're part of a race family. We miss them, but just nothing we can do about it right now, but we're still working on it. So,
well, if it happens, I'm definitely going to build one, because the drag racing scene in this area, it's non-existent. I tried 3 different events. We didn't have super good turnouts. And I mean, that's just because it's the thing I want to do. People around here just don't want to do it. And I want to focus on something that most people want. And that obviously it's where you guys are at and what you do. So when that time comes, let me know if it does.
Well, I appreciate that. And here's the funny thing about your drags. We did a race down in, where was that, Chris? Where we had the drag races the night before, down in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Was that Mid-America? Mid-America. The night before our race down there, when we were doing our AXCC championship, they have an actual drag strip sitting down there.
Was it on asphalt or dirt?
No, it's on dirt.
Okay.
And they just had a fun thing. You went out there. I can't remember if it cost or not, but man, we had a blast, and everybody just thoroughly enjoyed it. So I don't want to step on any toes, but I just wonder if part of it's letting people know and getting them out to 1 or 2. You know what I mean? And
I know there's a lot of people that'll travel, but they got to have a lot of money, because these guys are putting $60,000 to $100,000 in a machine, and they want to get reimbursed. If they win, they want good payouts. And I will say the 3 events that I had, there weren't high payouts. It was, one of them was an invite only. And it was just kind of a trial to check the track out. That was probably our best turnout, to be quite honest with you. They're actually having one just up the road here that I chose not to be a part of. And they're supposed to be having some real fast cars up there, but we're going to be gone, and I didn't want to intervene with what we were doing to be a part of it. So that, and I had already decided last year, it was disappointing to just see, we had probably 25 cars show up is all total for every class, and it just wasn't worth it. I mean, we ended up not even having certain classes run, and it was just a letdown, and I disappointed a lot of people, I feel, and I just don't want to be in that situation anymore. So, in Michigan and down south and even out west, it's big, but around here, it's just not.
Is it more like around the sand dunes that we're seeing a lot of it?
They're huge there, yeah. And that's where it started for me and a lot of other people over in Michigan. And they would go out there, and a friend of ours actually built a track in his backyard. And I mean, we would have 300 people show up to them things. And I thought, man, I want to do something like that here and not have to travel all the time. And just because we didn't have big payouts, nobody'd show up. So it was. Have you
ever had a Prius take the line?
Actually, we've had the heck was that? It was the Mopar, that little, I think it was a 4-door even, PT Cruiser.
Oh, really?
Actually, and he ran down the track. It was pretty comical.
Well, if we ever do something like that, or you do, let us know, and we'll get Chris McKean out there in his Prius. I don't know if you ever seen him. It's got flames on it and everything.
Is it white and black?
Nope, it's all black with flames.
Okay.
It could be any color your imagination wants it to be.
Okay.
There's a white Prius.
All jokes aside, there is a white one running around that's pretty cool. It's jacked up and on MT tires, and I could definitely see the guy showing up to something.
Really?
Are you sure it's not a Ford Focus?
No, white? It's a Prius. It's a Prius.
Oh, shoot. We have fun with Chris and his Prius, but it's all good.
So he really does own a Prius.
Well, he doesn't tell everybody, but
okay.
I've supposedly I've seen him out and about, so we're gonna leave it at
that. Supposedly.
Yeah. But so Dave, I was talking with a couple other sponsors beginning of the year when we lost our side-by-sides. And we're getting a lot of feedback there, Chris.
Yes, you need to. I don't know if you have the podcast going as well, but you got a lot of feedback coming from your side.
I do not have anything going.
Huh. Is it on my end?
It might be on your end, Dave. I can see
my printer just.
Maybe that's what it was. Usually when we have that, it's on Chris's end. But no, Dave, so we were talking about this, and our side-by-sides had went down the last couple of years. I think part of it's just because of the cost, but I told some sponsors earlier, we have 256 families racing with us now, and I will bet you anything that 70 to 75% of those have at least a utility, whether it be an ATV or a work UTV at home, if not a work and a play one.
Right.
People are getting out there so much. So let us know, like, what do you offer for the guys? Let's say in Eastern Iowa, we got a ton of them out there. Talk to us about, like, let's get them to come to Bold Off Road. Let's get them to introduce themselves to you, and check you out. And so what I'm seeing some of the stuff that Chris has scrolling across the bottom there, but tell us some of the stuff that you work on like that on an everyday basis.
On it, I mean, the most common is, your Polaris and your Can-Am and your Kawasaki's, but we don't turn anything down. When I started this, a lot of people will go out to the dealerships and they have rules and regulations. They don't work on anything at, certain age or make or model. And people got to have somewhere to go for that stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it don't suck sometimes, because it does, because we get stuff that roll in here that you would never think would even be, you would think it'd be in a junkyard. And I get why they don't want to work on it. It's because most people with these machines, the thing ain't worth $400. They're not going to put $250 in it, but they still got to have somewhere to go. So we don't turn anybody down as long as it's UTV or ATV. We don't work on golf carts and mowers. There's some people think that we do that, and we don't. They kind of take anything off-road to the extreme, and it's just all UTV and ATV related. Even the off-brand ones that come from overseas. I mean, we work on them all. We do anything from fabrication to just a simple tire repair. I mean, there's really not much that we don't do. So the guys that I do have, every one of us have some fabrication skills. We have the everyday maintenance. We between the three of us, we know just about every machine there is. Maybe not to the fullest, but pretty darn close.
Gotcha. So I know exactly what you're saying, because I have about as close to mint as you can get 2001 Honda Rubicon. I think it's just out of warranty because I've got just over 25,000 hours on it now of track building. But ironically, I went to a dealership that I used to work at only to find out, they won't even work on it because it's too old,
Yep.
So I see exactly what you're saying.
Some of them won't work on anything over 5 years old.
Yeah.
And that to me, it's just, it's unfortunate for the customers and the people that own this stuff. And there's a lot of people out there that don't want something new. They know what they got and they want to keep it and they want somewhere to take it. And that's here.
Cool. Well, I'm going to walk on the edge here saying something I shouldn't. So I apologize to anybody I might offend here, but so I have this saying that when I go into a dealership or a facility to work on my four-wheelers, and I used to run one of the stores, so I seen it happen firsthand, is sometimes I think when they don't want to work on that old stuff, it tells me something sometimes about the mechanics. And what I mean by that is it's pretty easy to stay caught up on the new stuff.
Right.
But on the old stuff, it seems like a lot of people just throw parts at it. Oh, this should fix it. And if it doesn't, then we go on the next one, Or to me, a mechanic diagnoses what's wrong and fixes it right the first time,
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because here, if me or one of my guys diagnose something and it's wrong, because we're human. We're not perfect.
Sure.
And it's basically, there's nothing that comes in this shop that we can't figure out. Very, very rarely. But sometimes it does, hanging a certain part on just to eliminate certain concerns. And I'm not that guy that if I put on a solenoid and I tell you that your starter's bad, I'm not going to charge for that part. That's our fault. Now, there are times where, one part will take out the other. And so sometimes there's, for example, a regulator, a stator. We do those in pairs just because there's just too many issues with certain things that you replace one part and 2 weeks down the road, it's taken out that other part again. And stators and regulators are definitely two of those parts I speak of. But I guess my point is we don't just hang parts. And if we do hang a part and it doesn't fix the machine, that's not on the customer, that's on us. And there's a lot of places out there that burn bridges because they end up with 3 or 4 different parts on a machine, and the customer's bill should really only be $200 or $300, and it ends up being $1,200 or $1,300 because they decided to throw all these parts on it that didn't fix it in the first place.
Yep.
So
I've seen that too many times. So
absolutely,
it's like when I hear you saying that you work on the older stuff, because maybe not everybody hears that, but when I hear you say that, that tells me that we've got good mechanics there and we're willing to work on stuff versus just change parts.
Absolutely.
So, yep.
And just like anybody, any shop, we've had our fair share of guys that come in and they tell you one thing, and well, it takes you a few months to realize that they weren't who they said they were. And so we've had our fair share of that. But the guys that I have now are some of the best out there. There's no doubt about it, hands down.
Very nice. So where exactly are you located? Tell us where.
We are just outside of Coggin, closer to Highway 13. There's a Casey's there on 13, and we're literally a quarter of a mile west of Casey's in Coggin, Iowa.
Gotcha. Cool. And then, if I remember right, wasn't Devin saying that you got the race fuel and everything there also?
Yeah. We sell Renegade. I keep E85 on hand, 110 on hand. Recently started carrying some 112. That was kind of an accident, but if we sell enough of it, we'll probably continue to keep that too. But that's what we have. We can get anything, but yeah, we do carry the 110 and E85 on hand all the time.
Gotcha. Well, we are looking at a race that potentially, not to tease anybody, might be a little closer to you next year. So we'll see about that. But the biggest thing is I think, so if I got this right, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but I don't think you're going to be there this weekend, correct?
I'm not. Our plans were to 100% be there, and the closer it got here, I realized we have an annual ride that we do every year. It's just friends and family. It's kind of an invite only ride, but we do it up in Wisconsin, and that's this weekend.
What
We're
part of
leaving
Wisconsin
Thursday.
do you go to?
Hatfield.
Okay. Yep.
Hatfield and north.
Now, is that part of the Black River Falls trails?
Yep.
That's what I thought. Yep. It's a neat area. So
it is very neat.
Why I bring this up though isn't to be mean because you're not going to be there, but we have this saying that I say all the time, and I know you're a repair shop, not necessarily a dealer,
Right.
But I think it goes the same way, and we see a lot of dealers. Let's throw in repair shops as being the same, that will sit there and wait for the customers to come in, What I'm seeing out of you've been trying to get involved with us, and I apologize, things haven't worked out the way they should. But here we are having our first bold off-road race in Kahoka this weekend. And the only reason you're not going to be there is because you are such an enthusiast. You're still participating in the sport. Just you got so much stuff going on, you're just not going to be able to make the race.
Absolutely. So, I got Devin. He will have our tent out there, our canopy, and some stickers. And I tried to get more hats in here, Andy, but prior to Friday, and I think I got 2 or 3 left, but it won't be here, unfortunately, till next week.
Gotcha.
So, but I will definitely one of these times send some out with Andy or with Devin.
Sounds good. The way to fix this probably would just to make sure he brings free ice cream.
Yeah, I would agree.
Devin's growling right now. Actually, I'd say his wife is probably growling more, but yeah. So no, but we appreciate it. I know timing didn't work out, but I'm telling
I promise you, I'm going to make one of these soon. I promise you.
Well, and there's rumors going around that we have a couple special guests going to be at the Iowa State Fair this year. One was announced here, I think it's 2 or 3 podcasts ago, Chris, but you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Adam McGill, the Gator that runs GNCC, Dave. Is one of the top guys. One of the best guys out there for our sport. He's just a real guy, tells you what he's thinking, shoots you straight, has a lot of fun in the midst of being a heck of a racer, you know. But then I heard there's another rumored guest that might be there too. Have you heard anything about that? Maybe somebody else, Dave?
Unless you're referring to me, I haven't.
Is it true that Bold Off Road might make a
Absolutely.
visit there? Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm actually very excited for that. I've been talking about it since I had found out myself.
Cool.
So I actually built an X3 that's that'll be its, well, it was in a parade on the 4th of July, but that'll be its first time being out at a event where we're actually displayed.
Well, we can always set up for you right there by registration and I think by far the busiest place is in the pits. The pits is always full there.
Right.
But if we come down to it and you'd rather be on the grandstand side, I'm sure I can get that worked out for you as well. So, but either way, we'll be glad to have you there. We'll make sure your banner's up. We'll have a chance to talk to you a couple times that day and can't wait to see you there at the event. So
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, we're excited to have Bold Off Road at the race this weekend as the title sponsor for Kahoka. It's our 2nd year there. It was one of the most popular races last year. We're looking really forward to it this year. I think a lot of people are. And I think it's a bonus race too, isn't it, Chris?
It is a bonus race.
Yeah.
Our 2nd bonus race of the year.
So Dave, just so you know what that means is we pick different tracks, 2 tracks a year. We throw bonus points at them, and so basically everybody that's there gets a 10 extra bonus points. So it's pretty important for everybody to be there. So it should be a really good turnout.
So if they don't show up,
what was that?
If they don't show up, they don't get the extra points.
Correct. Yep. So it's usually one of our highest attended events when we have the bonus points on it. So, yep. So it should be a good one. So we're looking forward to it. And, you know, it's easy for me to say this, but, you know, we thank all of our sponsors, our landowners and everything. But I can tell you, you know, if it wasn't for the landowners, we couldn't do these races.
Absolutely.
If we have the landowners, though, and we ain't got sponsors, I will personally tell you we couldn't do these races. So we all thank you. Chris would be absolutely bored if we weren't doing races. He wouldn't know what to do. He'd be driving around in circles in that
Prius.
Yeah. So you're helping his mental, you know, stage too, you know, by creating this kind of stuff. So we thank you very much for everything you do. And
Absolutely.
we need to make sure that we get Bold out there as a household name everywhere that we can. So,
Well, I really appreciate that.
We sure appreciate it. Thank you very much. And then we will see you. We'll talk to you probably sometime after this weekend, but we look forward to reserving a spot for you there at the Iowa State Fair. And also, Dave, if you are, well, we'll talk afterwards, but I might have another opportunity for you at the fair. So I'll get with you on that. It might be a good way to showcase some stuff. So
absolutely.
All righty. Well, thanks for sticking around. I know Chris was having some troubles getting on tonight, so it took us a little while, but I appreciate you sticking around and keeping up with us. So
absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
First time, so thank you.
Hey, real quick, Dean, just check on your side. I know I've been sending you a text message, the audio issue. I didn't know if it was you or Dave. Just kind of make sure if your mic's on, you're speaking into the mic.
Yep. I think it went away as soon as Dave got off. So I'm wondering if maybe he didn't have something in the background or something.
And that could be. just something there. I kept trying to do everything I could on my side here, just having some difficulties.
Yeah, I was going through all the different channels trying to fix it too, and
I could see that. Yeah.
it wasn't working. So
Oh my gosh. I'll take the blame. Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I am talking to Devin Bowling about Bold. They're man, they make some neat stuff, really neat stuff. And 2 years ago, we had that set up. I was looking forward to it because he had a couple really cool ones built, having him there, and it just didn't work out. So I'm real excited to get him there. But yeah. So cool. So we got another young guy coming on tonight too, don't we?
Yeah, we've got a winner from last weekend coming on and ready to join us, I believe, here. Sitting anxious with a smile on his face in the background. Get me on here. So without further ado, let's bring on Kade.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey, Kade. How's it going?
Going pretty good.
Kade, really quick, does any of your friends drive Priuses?
I don't know a single one, I don't think.
No? Yeah.
Not that I know.
Would they still be your friends if they drove Priuses?
If they're a cool person, maybe, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
And without talking about Chris, you think he's kind of cool enough to drive a Prius?
No.
I'll give him it.
No.
Wow. You're being pretty easy tonight, Kade. I think you just don't want to make somebody feel bad is what's going on. And I get it. He's the one scoring you, right? So you can't torque him off.
Yeah, I don't want him to mess up or nothing.
Delete. Oh.
So Kade, thanks for coming on, first of all. But
Of course.
quick question for you. I heard your name from another gentleman that had talked about 2 or 3 guys coming up to race with us this year. And he had told me it was Brock when we were talking stuff. And he said, hey, these 3 guys are going to make some noise, and they want to come. They want to race the competition, and he was excited to see where you would fall into place at. And Chris and I talk about this all the time, but I love seeing guys and girls that chase competition. That's where it's all at, if you ask me, and we haven't really gotten to talk too much, Kade, but I know when Brock had mentioned the names and I seen you there that first time, I was like, I remember that name. I remember him saying something. So I'll just kind of keep an eye on it, and we get kind of busy, at the races and don't get to talk as much as we'd like to, to different people. But obviously that last time you really stuck out. I mean, you got to the top of the food chain there in the A class. And that's right up there, out of 150 riders, and you're winning the A class. What was you overall?
I think I was 10th. I want to say 10th overall.
So, being honest, is that where you thought you would be this quick, or did you think it?
Honestly, not yet. I figured it would almost take a year through Iowa to kind of get in the top of there, but no, I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far.
Oh,
and a lot of people had some issues with heat at that race, and there's a lot of people that typically are up there, but had issues. It's like they put the anchor out behind them, they had to slow way down, which is smart. But how did you, I don't know if you're used to this kind of humidity that we had that day, but how did you battle through that?
I try to drink as much water as I can throughout the week. I know I drink a bunch before going up to the start. And I just try to set a real good pace beginning the race. Try to pick to a good speed through the whole time. That's my honest rule.
So does other people really affect your race, or do you just kind of go out and race your own, know where you got to be?
I think they're all my competitors. I don't try to think of any differently. I stay at my own pace and see how I end up, really battle through it.
So this is your 4th race you've had now in the A class with us?
With you guys, yeah.
Yep. And so who do you consider some of your top competition that going into a race saying, okay, if I see that number coming up on me, you know what I mean? The race is on here,
I'm trying to think. I'd definitely say Gary Eads for sure. He's been in A class for a while. Definitely knows how to ride for sure.
Did Gary give you parts to say that?
No, actually.
He didn't. Okay.
I'm not quite familiar yet with everyone, still learning, but anyone really, honestly.
I mean, Jace Tomlinson, he was leading the first couple laps, I believe.
Yes.
In the A class. It was kind of a hit and miss. Everybody, I feel like it was the top three. You guys were fairly all close, pretty much the first half of the race.
And one of the only guys I know that doesn't get tired, that Joe Lutz was up there this time. And Joe just seems like he just never stops. You make a mistake and here's Joe again.
Joe must have had a bad start. Joe went from 12th to 4th.
Have you ever seen Joe have a good start?
No.
Okay.
Well, no, I take that back. Didn't he get a whole shot? He got a whole shot last year, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure everybody else started backwards.
Okay. They gave him the sympathy whole shot.
Yeah. Yep. So no, Kade, it was just like I said, and when I say some people had issues, that's not taking that win away from you at all. That's giving you a ton of credit because this is cross country. If we were racing motocross, somebody could say, "Oh, the jump had a different lip on it," or the TT had such and such. You know what I mean? It just all these excuses come up. But the beautiful part why I like cross country so much is everybody that takes the line is thrown the exact same thing, and you're expected to deal with every obstacle that comes into it play. So, like you've mentioned, I've talked to guys down there, and we were interviewing some guys before the race, and that was our hot topic this time was because of the heat, trying to learn if you don't know. And that was, some people said, hey, I started drinking water last night, drank pop yesterday. Some people said I started hydrating myself on Thursday. You said pretty much the whole week before. So it's not something, listening to you and some other guys, it's not something you go into race day and say, I'm ready to race in 100-degree weather. You're taking that understanding, breaking it down, and preparing yourself for it every time.
Yeah, my dad was sending me text messages the other day. He's like, make sure you're drinking water, keep me reminding me, stay hydrated and stuff. So
that's cool. So the family's behind you.
Oh, yeah.
What do you got for a team as far as travels with you, or make sure you're ready to go each time?
It's just me and my dad most of the time.
Well,
most of my family's at the Trenton race because that's where a lot of my family's from, at least my mom's side. They were all there. But no, usually it's just me and my dad.
Okay.
Well, don't get any more special than that. That's pretty cool. So, well, why we had you on here tonight, right?
I'm not for sure.
So we have this thing called the Jason Mickelson Century 21 Rider Spotlight. And this is where Chris always likes to take the lead and jump in with about 10 questions for you. And this is for us to learn, and you're not, where exactly are you from? That's part of the questions, but where are you from?
My first question here. So thanks, Andy, for asking.
I always step on toes.
Called Agency, Missouri.
Okay.
Is south of St. Joe.
Okay. Oh. Not too far. Trenton's probably 2 hours, hour and a half for you?
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. So Kahoka is probably 3.5 maybe?
Yeah, I think it's 3 and some 3.5. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So we're obviously glad to have you. We're glad you're getting some success here. But the key to this, what Chris is about ready to perform here, this with his magic wand, is for people to get to know who Kade is, and some questions are just out there to have fun. And, sometimes we learn from your past, stuff you might answer with and stuff. So there's no wrong answer, but it's just fun to just kind of have fun with this and kind of learn some stuff that, and we get to the track and I've seen situations where you might mention you like Dr. Pepper, and Chris has been really cool. I've seen him have an ice cold Dr. Pepper there for someone just learned something, you know,
Yeah.
on the podcast and had you Dr. Pepper, you know, or something. So
Is this where we also make our requests for food requests? Because you were talking about lemon bars, and man, they magically showed up.
I loved it.
So can we
Yeah.
like throw pumpkin bars out there or something?
Well,
Just
if you're
asking for a
asking
friend.
I
So,
don't
Kade,
think
what's your
dessert-
favorite? What's your dessert? Let's just start somewhere.
Probably apple pie
Ooh,
Ooh,
and ice cream.
apple crisp sounds really good too.
yeah.
Mm.
Huh.
So,
Now-
Kate, I kind of want to get to know you a little bit more. I don't think I've met you yet, other than probably flying through scoring.
You're lucky,
You mentioned-
Kade. You're lucky, Kade.
So you mentioned that you started out with Iowa. Where else have you raced with?
I raced the MXC and AXC series for
Okay,
the past 4 years now.
4 years. So you've got 4 years experience. Did you ride the same machine all 4 years, kind of what you currently have, or did you ride something else?
I started my first two of the AXC series on a 250EX.
Oh,
And I got to where I wasn't riding it safely anymore, kind of out riding the machine. And we looked at the rules of the class, and they wouldn't say nothing, no maximum CC size. So we're just like, we're going to buy a 450. So that's what we did. We went and found a 450. My last season there, I raced a 450 for the first time.
okay.
And I've been on a Honda 450 since.
Cool. Hey, Chris, I got to interrupt here really quick. This has to be because you're on here, Kade. I know it's not because of Chris or I, but I just noticed in our comments from the Faulkners, Hoyt and Mimi says hi from Maui. They're actually in Hawaii right now,
Wow.
and they're watching this podcast. So my guess is it has to be because you're on here, Kade. Do you know the Faulkners?
Yes, Daryl Fortner. I was talking about them.
Nope, this is a different one. This
Oh.
is Stacy and Hoyt, Mimi, and I just went blank.
Oh, my.
Oh, what's Dad's name? I just went blank. Oh man, here I was trying to throw him a love, you know, and I forget. But anyway, but they are on vacation in Hawaii. I just noticed that. I just thought that was really cool that they're commenting, they're watching it. So, Kade, you got some more fans, I would say. Both of their kids race in the 90s and the 50s. So,
Okay.
CJ. Thanks,
CJ,
Stacy.
there you go.
Oh my
CJ,
God,
sorry.
Blake.
So go ahead, Chris. I just seen that. That was the first time we've ever had somebody from Hawaii watching. So
All right, lost my train of thought with all these interruptions.
pretty easy.
I know. It's a long day. So started on a Honda, which good job out of you. 250EX. I will say that that's what I started on as well. But back in the day, we didn't have the 450. We had the 400.
Yeah.
So that's what I had jumped to before I blew it up a couple times. Yeah, so interesting. So you mentioned your dad mostly goes with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got some oddballs. So kind of for people to get to know you, some off the wall questions. If you could make a sandwich, what would you put on it?
I'll say ham, turkey, bacon, some lettuce, ranch dressing, and probably some pickles.
Ooh,
Would be my go-to.
I could eat with Kade. Like that.
yeah. Would you put chips on that too?
I've never been one to do that. Never found that appealing.
Okay. So we'll go back then to your machine. 4 years experience. Is it all stock, or do you have aftermarket shocks or anything like that?
I have the +1 Hauser long travel front end with stage 5 Elcos around. That's suspension. And then, but everything else is pretty much stock.
On stock. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Andy, do you have any questions?
No, I just thought I'd let you take the lead on this.
No, I'm not the talker. Oh my!
You tell me if you want me to jump in, but
Is a hot dog a sandwich, Kade?
No, I never really thought about it. I consider it being between two pieces of bread, so I guess I'd say so.
Interesting. Okay. We'll keep on the food theme. I'm hungry. What is the best Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor?
If I'm being honest, I don't think I've ever been there. If I have, I was younger, but I'm gonna say the mint chocolate chip probably. If I were to guess.
Oh, a non-vanilla. Oh, I mean, about everybody we've had on the podcast, it's been a straight vanilla, going a little minty.
so Kate, who is your favorite? Whether it be a GNCC or somebody you've raced with or whatever, but who's your favorite racer of all time?
I'll have to say the Gator all the way.
Gator.
Yeah, but
You know he's going to be at the state fair race, so you haven't registered yet. There's an opportunity, shameless plug here, to register yet for the Iowa State Fair race.
I think I heard my dad or something talking about it or mentioned something.
It's pretty good payout for A class too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you could run 2 classes.
Yeah, we have the new class this year. So we have a $10,000 purse this year.
Wow.
And that's just for ATVs. So, well, also, hey, you know what? He might be in the running too for how far is it from St. Joe to Des Moines?
I'd probably say 4 hours, maybe. That's not for sure either.
Yeah. I don't know if that gets you there or not, but we're actually have a $100 bonus to the longest haul.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a chance. Gator's putting on a riding school. There's one Thursday, Friday, right before the state fair race. And then it's unknown yet if he's going to race the state fair or if we know at least he's going to be there. So that'd be pretty cool for you. But cool. So what's one of your hidden talents outside of racing?
Oh boy.
Or maybe just something that you really like to do.
I do a lot of welding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I do most like gusseted frames. I do all that stuff for us.
Oh.
Last year for the MXC and AXC, I made all the overall trophies and then 4 other items to sell to silent auction. So
Very nice. I like that. So what's the best piece of advice that anybody's ever given you?
oh shoot.
Maybe when you say when it comes to racing or preparation or anything.
I would say take it one corner at a time or something.
Yep. Nice. Chris, I don't want to overrun you here. You got one?
Oh.
Let's get maybe a couple more before you go into the rapid fire. I'm gonna ask, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Smoking the Bandit for sure.
I like it. 1, 2, or what?
Oh, number 1.
Number 1, yep. It's kind of hard to go against it.
Yeah, it's too good.
Huh.
If you were a shoe, would you be left or right foot?
Right foot.
We have some goofy questions, don't we? Oh,
Makes you
shoot.
think.
Are you a dancer too?
I'm not much of a dancer.
I'm seeing a guy on here. This guy used to be a good racer. I don't know about anymore. I haven't seen him for a while, but some Michael Burrows on here saying something about an awesome racer, and you should see this kid bust a move.
Oh gosh, I know what he's talking about now.
Uh-oh.
That's cool. That's a good family. So cool. Well, why don't we you got one more, or you want to go straight to rapid fire, Chris?
Well, we can always ask him what his favorite car is. That seems to pique some opinions.
There's so many beautiful cars out there. I would have to say my dad's 72 Chevy K1500 step side.
Cool. I like it. You said that was a Chevy?
Yeah.
Yep. 52?
72.
Oh, 72. Now you're talking my language. Gotcha. Yep. Very nice. All right, Chris, why don't you tackle the rapid fires?
Oh, I'm going to have to turn that over to you, buddy. I don't have those rapid fires.
Oh, well, I just do it off of memory. So, you ready, Kade?
I'm ready.
See how fast you are here, okay? Chris is going to start the stopwatch. 3, 2, 1. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Favorite drink?
Mountain Dew.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite singer?
Whiskey Myers.
Nice. Favorite restaurant?
Texas Roadhouse.
Favorite sports team?
KC Royals.
Favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
We already talked about if you could have any, well, outside of your dad's, if you could have any car, what would it be?
It would be a 72 K5 Blazer.
Nice. Would you rather have a talking pet or a self-cleaning house?
Talking pet.
Would you rather fight a giant spider or a giant snake?
Spider.
No snakes, huh?
I'm not a big fan of snakes.
Well, that was it. You remind me at one of the races. You're a Kansas City Royals fan?
Yeah.
Remind me at one of the races, and I'm going to tell you my Kansas City Royals story.
All right. Love to hear
I promise you will not believe it.
it.
Okay?
All right.
So, well, Kade, we sure appreciate you coming on. Like I said, you got my respect right from the get-go this year when I heard you were coming and you wanted to race the competition. You were chasing the competition. Seeing you, I don't care if you're 5th or 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, let alone winning a race. I just respect that coming out and want to throw the challenge, out there. And I just utmost respect for you right there when I hear that. So tell me really quick, you got a couple other guys that are traveling with you though, or not?
No, most tight. I'd say 99% of the time it's just me and my dad.
Okay. I was thinking there's 3 of you guys that were going to come up here, but yours is the only name that I can remember. So, but cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, we sure appreciate you being there. We look forward to seeing you this weekend. It doesn't look like it's going to be a super hot one, and I don't think it's going to be dusty if we get the rain they're telling us, it should be just about perfect. So, but I can tell you we're going to have some of the best food ever at a race. We're going to have food on Friday night and Saturday. So are you coming in on Friday night or Saturday?
We should be coming on Friday night as long as everything goes back together well.
Gotcha.
Oh, so your machine's apart right now?
Yeah, well, speaking of Brock, he's in our basement right now, and so is my dad. We're putting a brand new motor together, putting the frame.
Nice.
Oh, so the longer we keep you on here, the less work you got to do down there?
Yeah.
Oh, we call that kinder time too.
Well, it just tells me he's got a lot of trust in those 2 individuals when he's setting up here. So I know if Chris was working on mine and I was up here during the race, I'd be like, please, please, please. So. But
fair,
Kade,
fair.
Yeah. Kade, thanks again for coming on. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Most definitely my dad. He's put me through all this stuff. He's got me into it for sure. Then my family. Big thanks to Brock for helping us getting this thing ready for sure too.
Awesome. Well, man, we look forward to having you back and can't wait to see you. And I think you made the right calls earlier in the conversation here, protecting your coming through scoring. I don't think Chris will be too mean to you. So.
No,
So,
hey, just keep being consistent. I 2nd place right now in points. 3 points behind first place, so anything can happen.
Yep, excited to see how the outcome is for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Kade. Appreciate it. And we're going to let you get back to work, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I just can't tell you, Chris. I get so excited when I hear guys literally running to the competition. There's so many people, we see not just in our sport, but in any sport. I'm not picking on just our guys, but guys that kind of run from the competition or want to race or, participate in a lower class, but to come in here chasing the competition and go straight to A class, I think that says a lot about Mr. Dial.
I mean, yeah, and that A class is pretty stacked. It could be anyone could win at the same time. There's a lot of good competition in there.
Yep. 1st to 10th, it's like, draw the short straw, see who wins here. So that's cool. I think he won probably, I'm going to say it, I think it was the toughest race of the year was last time, with
Tough
that
race so far.
Yep. When you hit that heat, and that track has everything thrown at you, and when you can pick up your first win on a tough race like that, that says something. So kind of puts a warning out there to everybody else, says, remember my name,
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So I got queued up. We had Coulter Smiley help me out again, our series PR kid, with a couple interviews. So we have 2 of 3 from Mount Pleasant here. I'll just go ahead and play it. I was interviewing Kendall Mohler.
Hi, my name's Coulter Smalley and I'm interviewing
Kendall Mohler,
And what is your hometown and state, Kendall?
Ankeny, Iowa.
How old are you, Kendall?
9.
What was your first ATV?
Polaris Outlaw,
What class do you race currently?
90 stock.
And how did you get started racing?
My grandpa got me an electric four-wheeler and I thought it was way too slow, so I wanted to get a bigger one.
Do you do any other sports?
I'm going to do softball in the fall.
What is your favorite thing to do outside when not racing?
Play with my friends.
And who is your favorite competitor in your class?
Bailey.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes. Well, technically, maybe. No. My dog.
Who is your hero?
My dad.
Who would you like to thank for helping you?
My sponsors, my grandma and grandpa, my parents, and my grandma.
And now we're on to the rapid fire questions. You ready?
Okay.
What's your favorite food?
Cheese.
Favorite candy?
No clue.
Favorite pop?
Sprite.
And who is the best ATV racer of all time?
Bailey.
If you could go riding with anybody, who would you pick?
Bailey.
Okay. That's it. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Mm-hmm.
Quick.
That's fun watching those kids, you know.
I think she was paid a little bit by Bailey. Kept her there.
It's nice to see those friendships get developed though at the races and carry over like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's cool too when I hear kind of, I don't know, just kind of gets to you a little bit when those kids are so, how do I say that? It's so easy for them to kind of fall for somebody, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's cool, you know, this racer, you know, it'd be a GNCC. We hear the Gator all the time, you know, but to hear him say my dad or my mom, you know, and as a hero, that's pretty cool. So that's really neat. But
so yeah, I've got to thank Jason Mickelson, Century 21 again for highlighting and sponsoring the rider highlights. So it's always good to get to know some more racers.
And remember on that, every time you see this, hear that, make sure you let people know. Jason is like our official realtor for, you know, the IATV Hair Scramble series. He's been a part of it for a long time. He's, you know, helped with it, sponsored it, raced it. You know, he's done everything in this series. So we can't thank him enough. But remember, Chris, our bet with everybody, or not bet, but our challenge is if you're buying or selling a house, you know, and give Jason an opportunity, or if you know somebody that's buying or selling, if anybody has a say so as far as somebody ends up going through Jason, whether it's you're recommending them or getting them set up or you go yourself. Jason will let us know who it was, and you'll get a race for a whole year for free. So not just like the last 2 races this year, but we'll make sure you get a whole year's racing for free just for referring somebody to Jason Mickelson in Century 21. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we going to expect this weekend?
Well, so we've got some stuff. I was just on the phone with Mr. Trump right before the podcast. We've got a couple challenges down there coming at us right now. But the biggest thing is the weather is almost perfect. It was hot down there. It's been hot down there. It's supposed to be, actually, he told me it was only 84 degrees when I talked to him earlier. So that's not bad. Supposed to get rain 3 days in a row. I think it was like 6/10, a quarter, and I forget what the other day was, but it was spread out amongst Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In a perfect world, I pray that we get that. Keep the dust down, it's going to make it really nice. We will not be doing the circle, the horseshoe in the pit lane this year. That's a situation where we just need more parking. Here's the biggest thing. I don't want to be forced to watch this parking all the time, but it's a thing where we don't want you coming in and saving like 5 spots. You may not be all together this time. We just can't waste any space. So we're going to beg it when you pull in, get about 10 feet off the person beside you, and that way you can do everything out the back or something, but we just need spots this weekend bad. We're going to have it set up where the actual pit lane is going to be shorter without having that horseshoe. It'll probably be just up against the timber line there. If people are familiar with how that was pitted last year, there'll be some off pit lane. There's be places I believe that you can probably take a canopy over, or you can set right inside, that timber's right there where you can be in the shade anyway, and pit probably on both sides of that pit lane, but we're just going to try to get more campers, more parking in there. If you have an option of bringing, if you're just coming for the day and don't need to bring that huge trailer, that might be the best opportunity, but we'll get everybody in there. We do have some overflow parking this time. So we can get people back in there if we need to. But it's just going to be one of those things we can gain a lot of spots as long as we're not leaving 30 people or 30 foot in between trailers, so just need to make it a little tighter this time. The track itself, I want to say is going to be the same. It's interesting talking to Trump about this, Thad. Last year, the very first year for this race, and even the landowner mentioned to me when he was going around, he's been doing a lot of extra work for us. We can't thank them guys enough for the extra work that they're putting in down there. But he was even mentioning, that our second year, typically, Chris, we always go backwards on a new track. We don't change a whole lot. It's just backwards. And I don't think Thad even realized how different that would be. He told me, he's like, man, I was going around that track backwards and I almost got lost. Like, couldn't figure out where I was at. It just changes everything, and especially down there. So it'll basically be the same track backwards, more than likely. We do have a couple changes that we're looking at. The kids' court is going to have some changes. But for the most part, it'll be, just backwards to what it was last year. So, should be a lot of fun though. It was last year. We had a lot of people, that said they just loved the track when they got done. Looking forward to having a good race. The starting area is really cool, down there. Yeah. Just different than what we're used to. So a lot of fun. We do ask everybody, remember, Chris, last year, you probably tell me better, but crossing underneath the bridge instead of crossing over the road, just so we keep safe there. So, but yeah, got some great food coming in. I put the menu out there. They're going to have food on Friday night. Want to give Jeff and his concession crew a whole thank you that they're going to feed the crew on Friday night. All the guys are in there working and stuff. He's going to feed them, which is unbelievable to do that. So looking forward to good food, a great day of racing, and hopefully we get some good scoring.
Speaking of scoring, is it going to be in the same location?
It will be. I'm going to attempt to move it just a little bit. And the reason I'm attempting to do that, I will be down there. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Just going down a day early just to get some different stuff figured out, trying to gain few more spots, for people to park. The start will be pretty close to the same. But I got an idea on moving the scoring over just a little bit if it works out right. So, but same vicinity. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Same entrance, getting in and stuff. So if we do have to use the overflow, we will lead people down to where that needs to be. It's not too far away, but it's just a little bit down there. So, and I believe it will be right on pit lane as well. So there's actually more parking on pit lane in the overflow. So,
Okay.
Yeah. But
are we still going through a semi-trailer?
We are. Yep.
Oh.
We talked to Thad. He said that hadn't moved at all. Obviously, it was probably rougher on that with the side-by-side just barely fitting through there.
Yeah.
For the ATVs, I think it's going to be a cakewalk, so should be good. Should be real good. Excited about that. So, yeah. But we are excited. This is something we don't normally talk about, but after our last year's episode at this track, I think everybody will remember. We want to publicly thank Lewistown Ambulance Crew for going to be there again this weekend. They're the ones that saved us last year when there was some miscommunication on the ambulance, and they will be there. I talked to them today, 8:00 on Saturday morning. So we'll be ready to go on time and won't fall in that situation that we fell into last year. So really looking forward to this race.
Good.
And something else I want to throw out there. This is coming from the last race. The amount of garbage, I'm just always impressed with our racers and friends and families, with all the stuff that goes on at the races and everything, the way people pick up after themselves when they leave. I mean, I stood out there the last time with Danny Graber, I think it was, and we were just looking, and it's like, man, it's just amazing, how, just appreciative people are of the races and stuff. And I'm just so proud of it when we leave and people see it. And I think everybody's amazed on just what it looks like when everybody leaves. There's very little garbage that needs picked up, and we can't thank them enough on that. So, yeah. So anything new on your end on the registration or scoring?
Scoring, no, not that we can say, but always working and trying to improve. But as far as registration goes, only show 28 have pre-registered so far. So there's still some time, 5 p.m. Thursday night. We shut that off so I can do what I got to do Thursday night before we head off to the track on Friday. But I was just looking at some other numbers. The state fair, 43 entries so far. So that is jumped. So state fair, what was it? First 75 people that register here get the free Iowa State Fair admission ticket.
Correct. Saves you. I can't remember exactly what ticket prices are this year, but I think it's around 15, isn't it? Something like that. 15,
and if you $11 if you do the early, early pay or whatever.
So yeah, that's nice. I really like what they're doing there. Remember, $10,000 payout for that. It's a little different, but I praise our cross country guys because once again, it's taking whatever's in front of you and running with it. So our cross country guys have always done well out there. So
there are a couple classes that are halfway full. So C class, B class, A class. Well, not A class. B class, C class for sure. About halfway filled up. So once we reach our limit of 15, we cut off registration for that class. So,
Yep. And I think almost every year we've came either really close or to the cutoff on several classes. So,
yep.
And this year we added another $1,400 purse to that new open class, which is only available to A and AA riders. So somebody could take home some cash this year in a serious way. So that'll be really cool to see. So we got this weekend. We got the state fair, but before that, we got the Heartland Challenge. And the Heartland Challenge, man, I hope we get some more kids signed up to just really highlight. We're taking kind of a chance, and we've never done this. We've always had side by sides. Instead of cramming everybody in one day, we're showing how proud we are of the kids, and doing one whole day of just the kids and getting 100% of the the attention and the awards and everything, and getting their corn cobs. And so we're hoping to see as many, teams getting signed up. Most of them are teams of 2. Remember, one cool thing about the Heartland, Chris, is if you're of age, let's say you're 8 years old, you could race the 90s and the 50s, if that means getting another team together. So people that aren't sure about it, have any questions, feel free to give me a call anytime. We can answer questions. We can also help you get set up with the team, if you're looking for a team. So we'll talk more about it probably at the race, I'm guessing. So,
yeah. When we also throw out there, we also have the live scoring. I saw that Steve Miller was on earlier. We'll have him on in the next few weeks, start talking about that, and as we ramp up for the Heartland Challenge.
And there's some neat stuff going on behind the scenes for the Heartland this year. So reminder with Steve, get your orders in right now for tire spines. He will be there, can install them that day. And that's just one race that, man, if you've got sorry, Dylan Howard, we're on podcast right now, so I can't answer the phone. But I forgot to shut my ringer off. So a lot going on there, but he's also doing the live broadcast, from the from there. So if somebody's interested in being a part of that and having a camera on you and being a part of that broadcast, you and your team, just get a hold of us or get a hold of Steve directly, and we can kind of work through that and make sure that you're on board to do that. So I seen Gary had a question there.
Yeah, I think you paid him to ask this question.
No. Now,
what?
I think this is a great question, because I was going to give you nobody would believe this unless I did it while we're live. So I wanted to bring this up because, yes, I was giving you a hard time. And just to prove it to people, I was standing back bugging Chris like crazy. But when people would walk up and I would ask them, are you pre-registered? And I would start counting down from 30 seconds. How many times did you fail to get somebody done in 30 seconds?
Not very many.
I honestly can't tell you of one that I seen that you didn't live up to the hype. I seen anywhere from 15 seconds to like 25 seconds, but every one that I counted down on, just kind of having fun with it, you did it. And I gotta admit, God, it's hard for me to say this, but I gotta give you props. I was kind of proud of Chris McKean and the girls, coming up there and getting them registered. So do you save money by pre-registration? No, we know that. But if you get signed up, you walk up there, you're not going to be there 30 seconds at the most, and you're in and out. And I think that's just absolutely amazing. So good job out of that.
Yep. Thank you for the compliment. I don't know. Is it going to be followed up by a Prius insult or something?
I'm holding my breath now.
All right. So I got a message here from Dylan Howard, who's asking if there's going to be a 50 limited class at the Heartland.
If one team shows up, no, they'll race with them. But I would love, that's why we keep pushing for these kids. We've got so many limiteds out there right now that yes, I would love to have that. I will throw that in a heartbeat. We just need to get teams signed up. So if they're going to sign up for limited, just let us know, and I will 100% add that class. No problem at all.
Yeah, but if, like you said, one team, it's really hard to justify that, right?
Correct. Yep. So, but there's no reason as many teams as we got that we shouldn't get 6 or 7 minimum teams, signed up with those limited. So, 50 stock, we should have easily the same amount, if not more, so, and we're laying a whole different course out for them. So those limiteds, will, be on a whole different course. So, and, let's be honest here, Chris, maybe people don't realize this. The 50s are the reason that we're truly doing a second day. When we do the 70s, 90s, we used to do them the same time, but it just wasn't fair to the 50s because in order to extend them out long enough, that got in some hills and stuff that we didn't feel the 50s were ready for. And so we could do this like we've always done it before at the Heartland Runner 70s, 90s, at 7 in the morning, 7 to 10, and we can still make that work. But the 50s, we are so proud of all of our 50s. You and I talked about this and made the decision. Let's give these guys a whole day. Let's not rush them. Let's make them the heroes of the day, and let's give them all the recognition and the awards and have plenty of time there and stuff, so pictures, the whole 9 yards, let them thank people, let them talk, everything. So we want to make sure we've got the people there, or we could have saved a lot of money and just done a one day race. So please, that 50 session, will it be 50 production? We don't got a lot of 50 production, but there's no reason we couldn't get 2 or 3 teams going, and then the 50 stocks, 50 limiteds, 100% that, if we get as many people that should be there signed up, and if you get signed up earlier, we know what classes you're on. We will add that class in a heartbeat. So, yep.
Okay. Something I forgot to mention when we were talking about this next round, as we're wrapping up here, we forgot to indicate that the adult 90 event this weekend is a 2-lap hair scramble race. Most likely will be around the 50 course.
Yep. Very nice.
We did that last year and felt 2 laps was enough.
Yeah, for sure. And just another thing, we got to thank Jason again, Mickelson, Century 21, for what they do on those 90s. But I think you probably heard me out loud there. It was really cool watching them all do that. The pit stop challenge. That was really neat. But having 5 or 6 do it, there's just not going to be time to keep doing this if that's what we're going to have. So we thought it would really grow this year. We just haven't got the amount of. It's always nice for people to say that, but when it comes down to it, we just haven't gotten that. State Fair, we usually have a pretty good run. Remember, it's like $300 on the line just for that day. So if you count the State Fair and the overall, there's $1,150 on the line for adult 90s this year. So the State Fair payouts obviously separate than our year end one, so it's pretty cool being able to get that. So, but needs more to sign up, that's for sure. So cool. What else we got?
I think that's all on my list that I'm thinking of. We do have what's bugging Andy, if you have anything.
Chris, I've always got something. Even if I forget about it, we've always got something, right?
Yeah.
So
what's bugging you today?
So part of this is just learning how cross country works. But and I can't wait for this race because I'll be out there again with the guys. The guys do a great job of marking this course. I talked to several guys that got off course last time, find out where they were. Pretty much every single person had to go around an arrow to get off course. We had several little kids that got off course last time. And I'm just going to make this very clear to anybody. I had one person had asked me about this. I heard one person commented that several parents had asked me or talked to me. I've only ever had one person ask me this, period. And that's why we didn't restart the 90s when we had that issue. So I will tell you 100% of the time, if we have this issue 100 times, Chris, do you know how many times we'll restart the race? Zero. Yeah, if you think about it, it's very easy to say restart a race, but I'm going to walk through this. When we have 2 or 3 classes go the right way, we have one class that literally has to turn and go around an arrow that's sitting right in front of them, pointing them to the right, and they go around that. They drive 200 feet with no arrows whatsoever. They get to the top. There's no arrows telling them where they go unless they take a left and look down the track and see arrows. So when they go the wrong way like that, number one, the first thing to do is obviously turn around and go back to where you got off. The other half of the class on that class did go the right way. Some of them were turned around by one of our track crew, Ryan, that seen them going the wrong way, got them stopped and took them back and got on. So some of them only did it 1 lap versus 2. But the whole time people were going the right way, and we had a group of about 15 went the wrong way. So that arrow was never taken down. It was up the whole time. When you come across that creek crossing, there's an arrow pointing you to the right. You can't go straight without hitting the arrow. So they literally had to go to the left of it or to the right of it, to get around that. But that's going to happen at some point. If you race cross country, I don't care what series it is, we see it everywhere. Somebody is going to get lost at some point. Somebody's going to follow somebody that got lost instead of looking at the arrows. It's going to happen at some point, and that's just a learning curve. Let them know that. But we do a pretty good job, I think, when you look at the arrows for the 50s and the 90s. For example, so people know, we put that out there so people can walk it. So I made the situation for the 50s this last time. I did all the cutoffs. So I marked the big black marker 50cc this way, and then it was cautioned off. So the 90s and stuff can't go that way. And it has written on the arrows 70s, 90s, 125s, straight type situation. And then the arrows are taken down. So when it says like 50s to the left, there's no arrows to the left that people see unless they're distanced down. Once we get done with the 70s, 90s, then when they make those switchovers, the guys will take that caution, switch it over, and then they pull some arrows down on the 90 course so they don't see the arrows going that way. So you can't go that way without seeing arrows. So it's a situation where I feel comfortable with it, the way it was marked, and the same way it will be marked this time. But it's also equivalent or laid out there so that people can walk it and see the right way to go. They can read the arrows and kind of see the differences. So I guess what's bugging Andy is, not to sound bad, but I just hate excuses when you go the wrong way. You just I'm not saying accidentally all the time. Maybe you tried to cut, but for the most part, I think most of the time that we've seen this last time was going the wrong way. But let's face it, we went around the arrows to get there. We didn't turn where the arrows told us to, and that's part of cross-country racing. So honestly, I think you could follow the track, Chris, without getting lost.
I could, huh? One of these days, you and I need to switch jobs for the weekend, and we'll see how it turns out.
No, I don't like that. No, because I know what you're getting at. You're not going to drive this truck, and I'm not going to drive. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, shoot. No, I give you a lot of crap, but I've always been impressed with how we do the scoring, and not only that, but how we handle the scoring afterwards. So,
yeah,
really appreciate that.
I don't want to do what I had to do at the last race. You're talking about following arrows. I hate going in and having to remove a lap, but it's what's right. Yep. I think that we get a question. Well, why can't we just add a minute or penalize this time or add this time? You can't justify that. And,
Yep.
It's tough. We don't want to take a lap away, but it's it's the right thing to do versus a guess of, how much time should I have completed a lap here or there. And, it's tough, but things happen. And like you said, it's a learning.
And let's face it, we all make mistakes. When I say we all, meaning you and I both, you are having issues with the scoring, looking at so many, I tried to stay out of your hair, not even give you crap that last race just because of all the stuff going on in there. And you look at so many numbers, and you always do a good job of handing it to me and saying, hey, look at this, and I've got 20 things on my mind, not to make an excuse, but when you look through those numbers, they all kind of go together. And, and speaking of that, we found one that was pointed out to us, already that was missed. We're going to still deal with, but you can't have let's just, for example, say a first year racer can't do the same lap time as a pro without getting off course, so we get that. And I think you do a good job of handling it. So thank you for that. That's enough. I'm going to stop right there with any more Chris McKean compliments. It's not right.
Yeah. And I'm going to ignore putting up what your son just asked as well in the comment section.
Yeah, chip off the old block there.
Oh, yeah, sure. So just also to address, I know you're talking about the 50 limited class kind of working on the side here. That's not an option currently on the website. Just sending Zach, our website master, that information so we can get that 50 limited class added to the Heartland site. But again, if there's only one or two teams sign up, most likely they'll get combined into the 50 stock class.
Yep. There's no reason that we should not have a 50 limited class, though.
You're just throwing it out there, though.
Right. Yep. Hey, one more thing just hit me too. I'll take the pressure off of Brock. Brock has been informed, because it's very easy to question, like when Brock is doing the whole shots off the start, until you get like 20, 30 guys coming in that corner at once, and one person's sitting there trying to figure out who got the whole shot. Brock's asked me a couple times, not trying to short anybody, but if we miss it, everybody's expected to have a front and rear plate. Okay. If you do not have a front and rear plate, Chris, do you have any idea whose fault that is?
That's on the racer.
That's on the racer. It's very, very clear. We will try to mandate that every time, but we do get rushed. Sometimes we don't see that, but it's no matter if you're in the AA or the first year class, you're expected to have the right color number plate. And that's for fairness, not with just you getting scored coming in with the number and stuff, but also, a guy in another class that's battling to get around you. And if you don't need to get around you, coming down that last lap because you're not in his class, then he don't have to. So it's very important to have that. But we've had a couple situations where someone got through on the start without having number plates. I've told Brock, but it's hard when you think you're looking at that first guy and then all of a sudden you realize there's no place. And I got to look at the second guy, so that's very, very difficult. And I just told Brock, if you don't have, a number plate where he can't tell whose number it is, then obviously they don't get the whole shot. I don't care if they were a mile ahead. If they don't got it, they don't deserve it, so you got to have number plates on just like everybody is expected to. So, yep. And then remember, some people don't realize that too, Chris. Your backup scoring, when you see that backup scoring, you're going off of their plates, and that's to speed them up, correct?
Plates, especially if the helmets are dirty, we can't always see a helmet because the goggles could be blocking it. I've got a couple people on my list here that we will grab before the start of this race and make sure they have the proper number on their quad.
Yep. It's just a silly thing, to be honest with you. Again, not trying to be a butt on here, but it's just a silly thing to have to tell them at this point of the year to get number plates on. Usually the ones that we see that don't have them, they've been there since Friday, and don't take the time just to do the little thing like put a number plate on there for everybody else's sake, and then when they come through that line, no matter who it is that's doing the backup scoring, when you turn that corner or you're coming in and they can write your number from 15 feet away, it's a lot easier seeing it that way than having to wait for them to come right beside you, to get it off their helmet. So it helps in every way, especially if I say it's like 300 coming through there, Chris, and then I question myself and I can turn around and watch them leaving and I see it says 300 too, then I verify myself, so
Yep.
Very important to have front and back. So just get them on there and have it done.
Yep. And just like we have fast scoring, we also have a fast webmaster. So he's already fixed the Heartland website and has added a 50 limited class to the registration.
Oh,
well, thanks, Zach.
Nice. Very nice. Good job, Zach. So
yep. Also, again, I'm gonna question here about a mini Ironman. So
in the 50s?
Yes.
50s, no, absolutely not. Yep.
Yep.
And the reason being, just so everybody knows this, it's not that they can't do that. We didn't have one even for the 70s, 90s till about 4 or 5 years ago, and then we started allowing it. The problem with that is we're talking the last week in July when it is very, very hot, or it has the potential to be hot. We've been lucky for the most part, but when it's that hot, a little kid doesn't know when to stop, doesn't know when to say I'm too tired. So we don't want to get in that situation. That's why we don't do that. So
it's different this year, right? Because we're racing earlier in the day.
Correct. Yep.
So
actually the 50s aren't too much different. Usually that noon's going to be actually probably cooler than 2:00 in the afternoon, but where it really changes is for the 70s, 90s. They have a chance of it being a lot warmer than typical, because they're usually in the morning early. So, yeah. But that's why we don't do it for the 50s. So, any other questions out there?
I don't see. I'm not getting any questions online or texted to me here.
I always get the questions like 2 days later that people are watching it, catching up. Is when I'm getting that text messages about it. So cool.
All right.
That's all I got, bud. I'm get some sleep and head down in the morning and get started. Can't wait for this one.
Yeah, it's fast approaching.
Yeah.
It feels like we just got through one. Got points updated too. I quietly threw those out there. Kind of like won't really actively post those until we get in the final rounds as far as championship points. Too many calculations with the throw out, so might just see me throw total points, and then after round 7 we'll go and do the throw out and determine championship. But everybody's more welcome to go out there and do the kind of their own figuring of where they need to be or what needs to happen for their end of the year placement.
Yeah. And remember this, we talked earlier, this is a bonus points race. So this plays a big part, of in that championship is being at the bonus race. So, and I will try to make a phone call. I should have done it before tonight. See if I can't get Power Sports Share back on here next week to talk to them a little bit about the situation, how things are coming, and getting that all live. So I've seen some activity out of them, so I know it's getting really close if it hasn't started. So, but we'll get them back on here and get an update from them. And then I know next week, Chris, Steve Mohler will be on here. We're going to be talking about tire spines and getting set up for the Heartland. So
fast approaching.
Yes, it is. So cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. Oh, wait a second. Was that a third compliment? Saying I appreciate it? No,
I don't know.
I wouldn't say that was a compliment. So
cheers.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Talk to you later.
See ya.